us in our audit process, we look at documents, we ask record, we went back in history. This is the final list that you should pay from. Don't pay from any other list. Right now, we don't have that final list. So the work the Senate wants, all that work is what the GSE is doing. This is what I'm explaining. There's nothing here. When we have that list, the GSE process, it was so finished. When we have that list, we're telling the people, all the people who say the government owing them, you go to the GSE, you go online, you follow the GSE
So in essence, you have not provided some of the things the Senate is asking you for.
Because we don't have a fully validated list that is conclusive. But nevertheless, while we are validating, we do pay domestic debt, giving criteria that we establish. Meaning, we look at recency. I've said, I don't want to pay Joseph Jingin Rao top more money. No. So the debt has to be recent. The last 3 years, one of my cities, maybe 1 year, 2 years. Let's look at the debt. Okay. Yeah, and all of that. What salary will perform. So all that stuff we do. The list is there. And the Ministry of Finance, the Debt Department has provided all that data. That's some of the data the Senator trying to share, the people trying to police that like we're doing something illegal with that. And that's 7 million we're talking about here. Oh. Most of the debt money, out of 84 million, that's 7 million going to vendors who supply the government. Most of that money go to central bank, go to commercial banks. All right, so
this is the Super Morning Show on ELBC 99.9. You can now put your calls through to 088-0514-096. The Minister of Finance and Development Planning is our guest this morning, and we are talking on a wide range of issues. You can ask him about the budget process, you can ask him about the economy, and then we'll move on to something else, so we'll take your calls. So
let's talk about LEC choice.
He wants to hear about the choice the government wants to make. What do you make of it? And then I will move on to something else. It's your time to talk to us this morning. Our very first caller is on the line. Good morning. Good morning. Okay.
They try to give them the basic argument of how these things work, but they do not understand the basic economic matters with respect to domestic debt. So you find that argument all around the spectrum. So, Mr. Minister, thank you for the experience. Now, I think this argument will lead to rest. Secondly, the issue about LEC, I mean, it's kind of damaging our government. We hope and pray that you work with the LEC to scrutinize them properly so that our people can have easy access to current. Electricity is life. So we wouldn't want people more on electricity. Thank you so much for the time, Mr. Minister.
Thank you also for being a part. This caller, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, sir.
From Boston. Yeah, the president is talking about improving the condition of teachers. They started cutting their salary in the name of harmonization. Also, at the moment, there were people who were on salaries of 28,000. Last month, January, they went there and they found 15,000 in their account. We don't even know what is going to happen for February because we do not even know what time we will receive salary. How are teachers going when you continue to cut the salary in the form of harmonization? I thought harmonization was going to be done, but once that harmonization is not cutting, how can you compromise this as minister?
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, the minister will respond. He will respond to you. Let's take this other caller. Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you. I'm calling from Johnsonville.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I really like for the minister to really explain the thing of domestic debt. Because money I want to say the government owing you, you have to write Minister of Finance before you go to GDP. But I want to know when you guys to measure whether if government is owing me, I have to go to GDP first or I have to come to what? To finance to make my thing.
Okay.
So please let me yes.
You will explain that to you. Let's take this other caller. Good morning.
Good morning, and let me say a pleasant good morning to the People's Minister, Mr. Samuel D. Tweah Jr. My name is Fodi Mohammed Carter, political name. I have a question for the Minister this morning. I would like to know, or the Liberian to know, what was the growth rate and the economy of the country when this government took over, and what is the current factor of the economy and also the growth rate?
Thank you. Let's take another call. The minister is taking note. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Sophia calling from my Western community, my team, I want to appreciate the minister, honorable minister. Thank you for your expressive, explanation to the Liberian people this morning. I just want to recommend to the Liberian people and to your good office that this LEC thing should be privatized, because in Africa and other countries we went, privatization really, gives effectiveness to the operation of foreign. Government is like be good that if you will privatize the foreign business.
Thank you. Let's take this caller. Good morning.
Francis, me, according to my social welfare, let me say good morning to everyone, including Minister Tweah. My question has to do with LEC. If I have a stove or a shop, a image shop, I fill out the shop with pepper bags. And each bag of pepper costs $100. I put somebody there to sell for me. And that person said someone to sell the pepper every month they report. But he said, book a bag of pepper, you give me 50% of their money you sell. And whether they go high, not go high, it's not my concern. So what should be LEC? Be crying in the government like we have something that's the LEC. What LEC set out for it, what people see the current, what don't see the current, LEC responsibility to be able to control power there. So what the government of Liberia should be pressed for LEC or share, not the something that's LEC. It is wrong when it's way, LEC will not perform, the way it's not perform. So what happens if the government for somebody, even if they get a contract or managing LEC, nobody will tell me the issue of power there, there's no money in Liberia.
Okay, the minister have been hearing you. Maybe they'll get you the contract. Let's hear this other person. Good morning.
Yeah. My name is Prince Corey. I'm from the center of the state. Yeah, it's just one to the finance minister of all the terrorists and issue. My question to the finance minister is that those are all who are on the LEC something, the electricity, because for all to sell water and what we survive and what we use to sell our children to school and the rest of the thing. But most of the time, before LEC people will come in the community, they will just connect land. If you go to them, even if you have some problem, there will be no way. So if the fellow ministers, the civil government, the budget, all of that thing that they want to pay LEC to the private company, for me, I think that would be in our interest because LEC is not working in our interest.
Okay.
Collect money around and then we'll go back and end of the day we support it. We are not making business any longer.
Okay, thank you. So this caller, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. This is Seton Wulajino, the Profile Defender Johnson, looking down this morning. Let me applaud the workaholic minister and Minister Samuel D. Tweah for elucidation, more especially when it comes to the issue that I belong. But we clearly said this is something that he tried to criticize about those who we trust the intellectual ability, the economic strength of our minister. They want to do the best for our country. We know where into our economy is and where our economy is going today. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's take this other caller. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Daniel, and I'm calling from 44th Street. The headquarters of the First Union.
Let's hear you then.
Mr. Minister, good morning, and you spoke tremendously. The question I want to chip in is how are we doing considering the how we prepare to adopt those shocks, considering that we are only people-based economy. And another one is on the small business support. The NIA in Nigeria operates NIA and small business. Can we include the NIA in the national reform agenda to help NIA institutions acquire stakeholders and be strong before through managerial scheme play? Thank you, Mr. Minister. I'll be listening.
Okay, let's take this other caller. Good morning. Morning.
Okay, so today, how you doing? This is a Newton guy from Maryland County, Pittsburgh. Let me say good morning to the Honorable Minister. My concern had to do with the issue of the ELBC. I want to appreciate the government effort so far with the measures they are putting in place for a kind of stable electricity. For the last time, Germany celebrated 25 years of stable current. But today, with us here, we can't even celebrate a week of stable current. So if that is not, I think it will be a kind of flaw for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, let's take this other caller. Good morning.
To all analysts, morning for the Minister Studio. My name is Hussein Kiel, from District 2 in Jacob. Thanks to the Minister, he spoke well. Something has to do with the pronouncement that was made by the President to the Minister of Finance. That was a budget of private school teacher for compensation. Also, President and the Minister that private school have not gotten anything as single down for the Minister of Finance. How is that process? Are we going to make pronouncement without implementing them? Please respond to my question. Thank you.
Okay, let's take the Superintendent of Rembasa County, Superintendent John Debakwe. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. And let me say good morning and welcome back to the National Minister of Finance and Development Planning. And I've been following with the program. I think the government has done very well in most places. And I want to appreciate the Minister. Thank you for what we do for from looking at the economic situation at this time and looking at what we had, because I think the pay on ground, for the officials, I think the pay on ground. And appreciation for the Superintendent Council of Nigeria. Having said that, I want you to look at this electricity issue here, because most of the gains we have made over the years of government, the LEC is dreaming everything, and I think the prioritization is something that but let's look at Ontario County as well, because our substation here in Ontario County is already on, it's already demonstrated, right? And I want to bring this to your attention with them with the key dedication of factors to Ontario County that is taking great and we cannot take it down. They have 2 games that are 18 months now, but we still have 7 because we need to be part of that. The super economic is a rural part of Liberia, under Ontario County is working. Local businesses are closing because no electricity is concerned. Grand Boston County substation for the Honorable Minister, the communication will be coming to you to work along with the international platform so that they can start looking at how we can do this distribution and transmission so that when people in Canada they can get access to electricity for the economy. I think yes, you have been followed very well. The Superintendent Council will be having some big with looking at some issues to have a conversation with. Thank you.
Thank you also, Superintendent. Let's take this other caller. Good morning.
The rest of the students suddenly dead. And good morning, Mr. Dynamic Minister of Finance. This is my road speaker calling from Violence Station. I must commend you this morning. Actually, from the beginning, you were the best finance minister Liberia ever had. So I'm a commend for that. But the main reason why I call on 2 things. One is electricity. It's very important, especially for security at night. And those, most of us, we are doing exactly as they say and whatsoever. So I don't really have to stress on the LEC foreign business. Because like here goes laughing and so they tell the president brought small light, big light was coming. When the big light comes, the small light we can't see it. You know, and secondly, they use rate. So wherever you go, it's 150. So wherever you go, a 154. So everywhere you go, I mean, that kind of way. So I really want to address those two issues for me. Thank you.
All right, Marlon. Thank you. Let's take this other caller. Good morning. Good morning.
I think we find it difficult to please civil servants. So let's look at it critically. And lastly, Mr. Minister, I listened to you said that we pay to message. I agree with you. Those reasons, let's say the reasons that Ali will allow our people who do monitoring will be certified. I want to also encourage our chief. This is proof of government. The government will to you. The president gave a paper to chief, so you will enjoy the proof of government.
Thank you. We'll take two more and then we'll come to the minister to respond. Good morning. Good morning. Morning.
Okay, my name is Jerome. I'm from Mana. Hello?
You're live. Please go ahead.
Okay, the issue of ELBC, I think the it's conflict. Looking at the draw down, several huge bodies of water all around this country, the Lofa River, the Falls, and the John. Like you come to Firestone, for example, that a hydro, Firestone got their own hydro is running, they are having electricity. And a fiscal bill on hydro in Lofa in the bank called Yandomu. All they can find out that hydro is working. Instead of taking the money and buying the hydro for a year or month or so, what can we find a means to raise funds to build additional hydros in the newer countries that have huge bodies of water and export the current to Monrovia and other parts of Liberia instead of going outside Liberia to buy current? You know, look how to do business at a profit. If you have the hydro here on the Lofa River, the Simple River, and other places, that would help to ease the current problem. Because the Simple was just built for Monrovia those days.
Okay, we'll respond to your comments or your question. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, you're live. Go ahead. After you will go back to the minister to address some of your questions.
Question to the minister is, how far is the rough payment between secretary and secretary? And then the next question is, the last time we heard that they paid $5 million to work in secretary. When last is it going to pay is some of the money so that work cannot or so? You have about our work.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me say a big thank you to the wonderful Liberian people who called in, listened attentively to many of the issues we discussed. Obviously, it's clear that preponderance or a majority of our people are really concerned about the electricity sector, and they're rightly so, because we know the importance of electricity. So the broad direction on the electricity sector, I would say, is that, look, in the short term, we face some challenges in terms of cost. But in the medium term, like in a year, we don't face those challenges because we put all the mechanisms in place so that the CLSG works well. So I think the second to last caller who said, getting power from Cote d'Ivoire is costly. It's only costly in the short term. So technically, he's asking us to do long-term things. When it comes to the long-term thing, we're fine because we're already doing that. But the pressure now is March and April. And I heard two callers, I think 2 or 3 callers who appeared to think, Mr. Minister, March to April business, we will not break our bank. And I think I got that feedback from 2 callers. who seem to say, don't break the country down because of March to April. Since May coming, use the May time, continue the long-term planning. The solar energy is coming, hydro, the World Bank is working on that. We're doing a lot of hydro things, you know, so we're even working to bring ships in. I didn't mention
so
that.
March and April will mean that
we're managing
for the rainy season.
We're managing.
So why if, worst case, why if it doesn't shower until after the 2 months we projected?
No, I mean, no.
Worst case, it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, if the rain doesn't come, I mean, we'll reach that bridge, we'll cross it. The rain always came since 100 years, so I won't go into the other debate there.
Oh, it's possible, Mr. Minister.
So in other words, that's our calculation. You know, we want to manage the cost, do improvement in the March to April difficult months, but then work on all of the solutions, bringing bead mounting, ArcelorMittal, and all that good stuff. So the broad direction on privatization is where we're going. We're going to privatize. That means that we're giving private companies the right to decentralize. So all of them, you know, looking to see that. Yes, LEC we're beating, but I can tell y'all, very soon, you know, we make noise on things that are not working, and when we fix them, the noise will stop. There are many things we used to make noise on, the noise calm down. This too will pass. They will come and talk, Karen Johnson, when I want to talk about LEC. They say, if you're not issuing the LEC feeling that you want to talk, I'll be called reminding every time you need to talk about the success that we achieved. You think, oh man, be that thing. Yeah, we're looking for a bad thing now. So we fix the LEC thing. We have asking for patience, the president asking for patience on the channel like that. You know, one of the most important callers here called about the teacher. You know, when the teacher called, you know, expressing, and teachers are the most important groups of civil servants in the world. Because we all are who we are because of teachers. They teach us every day. The doctors are taught by the teachers. So yeah, even though they take care of, but before they got there, teachers, classroom teachers who teach them, who brought them where they are. So when the teacher raises concern about, you know, the salary, I just want to provide clarity. Look, harmonization, we did not cut any teacher salary. No teacher was cut. It was protected. Harmonization, we raised teacher salary. Teachers are one of the people who benefited from harmonization. We took money from higher salary people and brought teachers who were making $45, $50 and brought them to $100. So teacher salaries were never cut. What he is experiencing is that when the exchange rate is unstable because we are paying in US dollar, Liberian dollar, they do see some fluctuations. The biggest complaint from the teachers have been when the exchange rate moved from 200 and came down to sometime 170, right? It took that 200 drop, 170, I think 2 years ago. That was significant. The hit was that, you see, when the government passes the budget at 200, let's take it from there, right? When we pass the budget at 200 rate, the time the rate was 200, that means we say everybody who come and pay tax will be paying it at a rate of $200. Okay, all right. So let's say the rate is 200. Let's assume for you know, simplicity, all the tax that come into the government at 100. Clarence is the only person in our economy, he will pay 100. So the government is supposed to get 200 times 100, that's around what? 200 times 100, what do you call it, 20,000. Okay? So 20,000 comes in the Liberian economy. We pass the budget on 20,000. The rate drops to 173. Okay, the rate drops to 173. So that budget we pass, we get the money here. The 100 million we say Clarence will pay during the budget year. So the budget is 20,000. Because the budget are projection. When the rate drops to 173, will Clarence come pay his tax at 200? No, I don't understand that. This is why Liberian people now. We have a 20,000 budget. In tomorrow, Clarence is supposed to come pay $200 at a rate of 200 to give the government $20,000 to operate. But while Clarence on the rate dropped to 170. And Clarence knows that the rate is 170. He goes to the LRA. Will Clarence pay at a rate of 200?
No.
Okay. If Clarence does not pay at a rate of 200 and he pays at a rate of 170, how much will the government collect? $17,000. So the government has a budget of 20,000 Liberian dollars, but the man who giving the government the revenue just paid 17,000 Liberian dollars. The government has a revenue shortfall of how much?
3,000.
That's 3,000. So 3,000. The honorable teacher who just called is making a case that when we're paying him we should pay him at a rate of 200. But does the government have the money? Because the only place the government gets the money from is Clarence. And Clarence, their pay is 17,000. So for the government to pay the teacher at that rate of 200, the government will have to go borrow $3,000.
Is that what you do?
No, we don't borrow because we say no borrowing. The president said no borrowing from the central bank, no borrowing. So I'm just using a simple example to say that the government will have no revenue if the exchange rate drops to pay people at the old exchange rate. So that 3,000 shortfall in real economic terms could turn out to be $20 million shortfall. $30 million shortfall.
So could that be the justification for the slides or the cuts?
No, it's not cut now. That's what I'm telling you. This thing we just did, I will cut anybody?
No, because there are text messages that are maybe.
No, I just gave you a simple example with 20,000 and 17,000. Did we cut anybody in our economy here?
No.
We didn't cut. What happened? It's the exchange rate that dropped, and because Clarence and teachers and all the people who pay taxes and business people are not going to pay at the old exchange rate, our revenue will come down. And so our expenditure will also have to adjust down to 17,000.
Okay, so in another case, if the rate went up high,
Then the teachers will be happy.
does that happen?
Yes, of course, it happens.
Has it?
Yes,
Okay.
it happens. So the thing about the salary is that the people who get US dollar, Liberian dollar can go up and go down. Right. Some of the teachers are arguing, say, only pay us in Liberian dollar. We're looking at that. So they pay us in Liberian dollar, fix our salary. We're looking at that. That's what we're looking at. Because this exchange rate, we have a dual currency regime. We can't predict. Yeah, we are stable. Somebody asked another question. I think it was Mary, right? Mary Rose asked a question about small fluctuation. So that's the thing. So I'm making an argument to the Minister of Education to everybody. I said, you know what? Teachers are an important group of people. Let's put their salary in Liberian dollar. We lack it. Now, the thing we're working on is that to avoid it, even if we put a salary in Liberian dollar and the Liberian dollar go down, we still have to adjust. So what we want to do, we're recommending to the national legislature to pass a small supplement. We call it a salary adjustment exchange stability supplement. To say, anytime there are fluctuations in the exchange rate, in this case here, with the 3,000 that Clarence said will be a shortfall in our economy, small economy here, the legislature will pass something around, let's say it'll take 50,000 Liberian dollar. So when our money comes, we have to take that 3,000 now, we pull it back. You know, we keep the teachers at that point. We're working on that. But that need legislative approval, that need extra money for us to plan for that.
When will that happen? I know you're working on that. What can you say to the teachers
I don't
who's listening
the
now?
teachers are listening.
1 year from now?
There are many things I'm saying here working. The PIT table, many teachers, I mean, I don't know we have teachers in that category. 105,000 Liberian dollars is how much US dollar now? Okay, teachers, I don't know if we ever have a teacher in the category. So it's possible that if a teacher is making 100 US dollar, you know, I don't think it'll be, we're trying to see if we can exempt some teacher, but put it in a low tax bracket. So teachers will benefit from the adjustment because when we move the threshold to 105, we'll continue to reduce. So teachers will benefit more money when we do the PRT reform. When we do this other reform, this is something that we've been talking about and we want to execute it. Senator Dillon asked that question once. Now, why don't we put something in the budget to stabilize the rate? And I could give him credit for that. He did ask that question. That I said, Senator, this is something that we have to do. He was concerned about the fluctuation himself. And I said, this is something we have to do. We can't just distort the budget, you know, when it happens. These are the consequences of macroeconomics. So the honorable teacher there, look, let me speak to all the teachers that we are concerned. We've heard you. We are doing everything in retirement. The Ministry of Finance, NASCOP, and the Civil Service Agency are now working to be able to make sure that as soon as the president dictated, right? When you retire today, you get your money tomorrow. We're paying all the backlog. Extraordinary work is happening to make our teachers happy. Central Bank is locating in all the regional councils so that when we pay teachers, there's no group of people that we concern more about than the people who stand up in the classroom every morning to teach. We know some of the conditions they're teaching at, the doctors, nurses, some of the conditions out there. We're working to improve those. So that would be, I mean, this one important call I wanted to spend some time on. Somebody called about the growth rate. Yeah, you know, the growth rate when we inherited was a negative growth rate. You know, economy was sliding. And then now last year growth is 3.6. We argued upward 3.8. Next year, and this year, this year we're looking at 4.6, 4.7. If we continue at 4.55% over the next 4, 5, 6 years, there's no way the economy will expand. Electricity is being solved. The cost of electricity has come down. You already know that. We were 33 cents per kilowatt hour. We're now 24 cents. That cost will come down. More infrastructure, more houses are being connected. European Union project in Basel is coming online. I hear you out. This is a fight I have with partners. Can we accelerate a little bit more? You know, a lot of the partners are doing our electricity project. One of the mistakes we made in the past was to do the hydro without at the same time doing the what? Transmission. So that was a mistake in strategic planning. We built the hydro, and then after the hydro, we start looking at transmission. We should have started building the transmission along with the hydro. So it was a mistake in planning. These are the coordination challenges in development planning. But we are there now. Most of the World Bank projects, the European Union projects, the African Development Bank project, RIA, those things are coming over. The electricity sector is going to get better.
I'll follow up to that concern. I'm sitting here thinking about how come in Ghana we experience more showers than Ghana, and how come we have problems with the hydro generating current.
Let me tell you, you don't want to go to Ghana. I see people on Facebook say, we like people don't want to do Ghana electricity. Ghana is having an electricity problem right now that is huge, huge. You know the MCC program in Ghana got suspended. World Bank challenge Ghana in the, I don't want to talk, but Ghana in some serious problem right now. Ghana is paying for power that it is not using in the same way that we describe here. Ghana is locked into a model where they are paying, and the Ghanaian debt now is ballooning. So you see, when we're making the choices we make here about being prudent and being careful, is to avoid that kind of situation. The two callers who called, they're smart, because you asked that. I think you asked that question. Say why you didn't lock $48 million to Abidjan today. I would have been killed on this show had I announced that what we have done. Those two callers would have killed me. Mr. Minister, you're wasting $18 million. Why would we spend $18 million we get happy? No, Mr. Minister. If they cry, you have, Mr. Minister, government can be afraid of the cry of the people. You leading the people in the Holy Bible, the people were crying behind Moses. When Moses took them to the Red Sea, oh, you brought us here, the people will cry. You as the leader, you listen to them, but you don't let them lead you. Because when they lead you to somewhere, they will also turn around and blame you. They say, but you the leader, you're supposed to know more. So you can't allow too much of the cry to derail your national direction. Because at the end of the day, when the people are happy, they will forget about that cry. If you listen to the cry and you carry it in the wrong direction, they will cry more. So that's what we are doing. Electricity will fix it. We hear you out. LEC management is going to change. And now let's hope now, since the management changing and new people coming directly, since we're privatizing it, a new thing we're doing. Since the EU and the African Development World Bank doing more projects and more new things coming. Since CLSG coming, so too many new things are coming in the electricity sector. More transformers. Somebody said more meters. One of the challenges LEC is the meter. People don't have meters. All I want, meters in procurement. Lots and lots happening. I will tell you, say January next year, we'll come back on this same show. We have a deep conversation on LEC and see the and I want the same people to be here. And we'll play some of the, right? I hope we'll play some of this recap next year because we'll have that dry season. Then we see how much progress we have made with the new management team, with some of the things we talked about, with putting, so the people who are working on ArcelorMittal, people say, oh, ArcelorMittal deal, so when you talk about ArcelorMittal, maybe we'll come, yeah, ArcelorMittal, yeah. ArcelorMittal deal is a good deal, meaning in the sense that it's an improvement to the existing contract. If you don't pass ArcelorMittal, ArcelorMittal has exclusive right over the rail in the current agreement for 9 years. Nobody else can use it. The agreement said for the government to bring anybody else into the current agreement, the one that was existing before the amendment, ArcelorMittal has to agree.
Why should you do that?
No, that was in the law.
That's a national asset that should be available.
In the law, right now, if we don't pass the amendment where the people are politicizing, nobody can use the rail because the law said ArcelorMittal has to agree first before anybody comes.
Okay.
Who writes that kind of concession? That's what ArcelorMittal has.
Okay.
So if you don't pass this, for 9 years, nobody can use the rail. ArcelorMittal still continues business. And when ArcelorMittal 9 year finishes, they're not going. They will apply for essentially, you won't stop there and put you in court, you're locked there.
So you can't stop.
You can't because they say we have our investment here. So what is the point? So these are many of the policy discussions, it's just political and sometimes the logic not there. Sometimes I just sit in the bar, Mr. Fan, I can talk too much. I just
Probably it's not being well articulated.
you know, I mean, yeah, maybe you guys have a point there, but the point is that it's a bad deal that we have corrected.
Okay.
The issue here is that in Nimba and Grand Bassa, our people need more for Asalamita. So we say, Asalamita, you have to do more for our people.
What about the port in Basel?
The port is being shared under this agreement. The rail is being shared. Right now, the people got dominance over these things, as I'm explaining. So we move away from that dominance. We come into a model for sharing. And somebody say, throw Asalamita out. We get the thing Asalamita here that come in help us with the current situation, because if Asamita is not using the CLSG line, the government will not be able. I will be able to afford that 48 million. Out of that 48 million, there maybe Asamita will take 10 million. Maybe Asamita will take 10 million. B Mountain will take 5 million. You know, 15 going already. LEC will work. LEC will take 20 million. So you are going to, after all the company local under the right pricing, the thing will be very, very cheap. In the 2-year, 3-year period, cheap. In 2-year time, when after the president re-elected, there will be no electricity issue here. CLG running well. Clara will not want to talk.
After the president re-elected, I like that.
I mean, y'all got to do something with it. Because pre-war, we had about
I was thinking, what are you exhausted the callers concerned?
And there's an important caller who said, and he called it moral hazard problem. This is one of the callers who said, Mr. Minister, you are subsidizing LEC too much. I think it's a fundamental question there. I don't think he's an economist. There's something called moral hazard in economics. I was like moral hazard problem. The problem is that if I subsidize you, you tend to rely on the subsidy and you don't make the effort. So that's what the caller is saying. He said your subsidy of LEC is helping LEC to go down the drain. It's a smart caller, an economic student. Yeah, part of that. But where we are, if we took the 25 million subsidy and say you might pay taxes, maybe the whole thing collapses. So at some point, what the caller is saying is right, we will subsidize to an extent. We're not subsidizing forever. We subsidize to an extent, fix all these things, and then we have free money. That money that LEC owing the government, LEC book as a debt to the central government. The day LEC become profitable, we're wiping that money from there and coming back to the consolidated. So our future is bright. The children who are not born yet, they don't want to enjoy that money. So they're out there looking. Your son, your grandchildren, they don't want to enjoy that money for LEC. Yeah. So we're aware of that. Are we preparing for war in Ukraine? I think this Ukraine question is very important because I heard
that was the Vice President's question, Daniel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know about Daniel, but
yeah, it was
Daniel.
Okay. Yeah. How are we preparing for the war in Ukraine? So first, let's talk about the Liberians in Ukraine. I mean, there are some people trying to say Liberians are being abandoned in Ukraine. I mean, it's unfair characterization. This government will never abandon Liberians anywhere. The president has directed that we ensure that we support the Liberians to go to a safe place. The logistics is being worked out. Now, on Sport TV last night, I think some people appear and made it suggest that. I even called on Sport last night. Liberians are not. The president who can take care of Liberians when homes burn, when nuclear town catastrophe happen, why would we turn his eye to seem Liberian? Let me announce to you that all Liberian scholarship, all Liberian fees have been paid by this government. There was a time you used to hear, say, Moroccan students, right? You hear that thing again? See, now I tell you, when we solve a problem, you don't come. But Clarence, they will not bring it up. Kevin, they will not bring the problem up.
Because you're telling us.
You're not telling us, like the issue about Ukraine.
You're not telling us, Minister.
A lot of mechanisms out there. I share all the information the foreign minister sent to me. I shared to all the media people. Oh, what means I input it? You know, I mean, sometimes the government working the government just be on the radio. Okay, we're doing it well. We're doing it. Yeah, sometimes the government working. The Minister of Foreign Affairs engaging the Poland, the moving Liberians there. We move the money there. So it's unfair. That headline that say government Bernard, that headline to send newspapers.
So
because he shared that information with you and not the media. Like Clarence was saying.
Okay, yeah, maybe
I
mean, you have people to say these things to the country. I mean,
that falls within your purview. To have that conversation with
so you don't blame us if we don't know. We don't say.
Okay, so yeah, so
what should Liberians brace themselves for now with the crisis?
Yeah, Ukraine, yes.
Yeah, and so that's huge. I mean, you know, we hope that there will not be a major escalation because whenever there is an escalation involving Russia and the NATO ally, Russia is a superpower. Russia has the highest stockpile of nuclear weapons, 6,200. America is next. Russia has some of the smartest people in the world. Russia, so it's not a small thing to play with. Russia has the largest supply of oil. There's been major disruption in Europe. So let's pray like we did with COVID for de-escalation in the conflict. We have to brace ourselves for, the best we can do is that, look, I can say this, the government has used some money to keep prices down. If escalation happens further such that prices, the government does not have the money to keep prices down and at the same time put 2,000 teachers more on the payroll.
Okay.
So except the government will say, okay, you know what, take those 2,000, we can live with for the next year, let's bring that money in to keep prices down. We don't have those choices. These are difficult choices. So we have to brace ourselves for slightly higher costs, knowing that we have already used money to depress prices in rice and fuel. If that thing goes beyond the point where we still dealing with the COVID impact, then the Ukraine impact comes there, we'll not be able to afford without compromising services here and there. So it's a choice that we have to face, we have to brace for uncertainty, but we have to pray. We have a lot of praying mothers, praying fathers in churches.
Roger is the second largest producer of oil globally, for example.
That's correct.
So
a follow-up to TV's concern, I think a caller, I'm not sure you spent some time on telling us the status of Liberian students. We've heard them on our different mediums. Where are we as a government?
Yeah, so, listen, I listen to BBC every day. They sit with people stuck in their cars. They're in long traffic. I listen to a lady from, I think, Nigeria in her car. They ask her, she's been here all day. Okay. People are moving. So it's not like when the war coming, you're moving, and the government money is in the airplane, dropping down to you. You got to be able to move. What's happening is the logistical preparation for you to get to a safe place. The number of people in Ukraine, or 200 students or 200 Liberians, I don't know the number, they will be in different positions, but the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is engaging with countries, with embassies, Ukraine, Poland, all the neighboring states, to find a safe haven, coordinate with people. He's speaking with some of the people who could go into a place. When they get into that place, we have to decide, you know, who is the leader, the authenticity. You send money to people, they have to be all that stuff. We can't just take one person and say, okay, oh, you're the leader there, we send you the money, take care of all the other people inside here, and let's say, oh, the money I was sent to Ukraine, only 3%, then other people go and read it, they start calling person, but the Minister of Finance send the money to the people. I want to tell you. So these things.
Why can't we consider extraction?
That's what?
Bringing them back to Liberia.
I don't know.
Would that be considered?
No, I don't know that. So those are the options. Do you bring them to Liberia or do you carry them to Poland?
So, but what practical steps are you taking now?
That's what I'm announcing. I share with you, and I think I share.
Okay.
So all those documents I share in your okay. I share with all of you there the documents, all the correspondence between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other embassies around safe haven, Minister of Coordination with Liberian, you're on the phone with them. All that stuff is happening. Minister of Finance preparing to send money.
I see something from
there. So all that stuff is there. So it's not true that Liberians are better.
This is what we're talking about. I mean, Ghana just brought 17 of their students back.
Yeah, that's fine. So, I mean, the money I told you, the president has said we should spend any amount of money to safeguard Liberians. Okay. That's correct. And we bring them back. To buy a ticket and bring them back. It's cheaper to bring them back here than to keep them in a hotel in foreign countries. So, but they have to first move somewhere, and then you coordinate from there. That work is happening. So I just want to dispel any propaganda, any impression that we have turned our back on our own Liberians. The government that pays the school fee, the government that deals with catastrophe when it happens in the country, will never turn it back. Given our own war experience, we know that. So the Minister of Foreign Affairs has been working. I think he's being unfairly characterized. If he doesn't speak to the media, maybe that's a point I can't speak to. But maybe after the show, he may be encouraged to speak more to the media. RAP payment, that's an important question there. We're paying RAP on the Sakapia Road. We made money available. We're about to pay another $5 million. So that work is a serious work. There is no stronger legacy for this president than for any Liberian citizen to drive from Monrovia straight to Harper and come back. That happening under George Tweah is the greatest achievement we have under this administration. We are resting on no laurels. We are sparing no human effort to achieve that. So the work from Sakapia to Tapeta, from Kanta to Sakapia, Sakapia to Tapeta, Tapeta to Toaster, Toaster to Georgia, all the money funding, that whole suite, the African Development Bank funding coming from River G coming to Georgia, we have already achieved the work from River G to Harper. Clarence, one day, Oliver, one day, you will drive straight from here. You will leave weekends on Thursday. I don't want to waste my week. I can't leave on Friday. I'll leave on Thursday and get there. So Friday I can enjoy there. Saturday I can enjoy there. And Sunday I'll be late for work. I'll start work Tuesday. When I roll open, that will be happening. Work on Monday, Maria will not be there. Government will be slow because most of the people will be coming from Harper and all that side. They'll start work Tuesday. So Monday will be a new Sunday in Liberia. That George Weah phenomenon I was explaining to you in the economy that will start happening here. Yeah. So the RAP payment, we're on course with all of that.
I'm sure you've exhausted.
Yeah.
this.
I mean,
So,
the main.
yeah. So I wanted to ask you, what is not clear is that there will be by-elections in Lofa. I say that because the Elections Commission has come up subsequently with its budget. I was thinking, what are we prepared to fund that process? And there's too many questions about how much are we using for this bicentennial?
Okay, I think those are all critical questions that we hope to use this opportunity to clear. First on bicentennial, so which is a shorter one. I mean, again, it's all misinformation. I'm hearing people talking about we spend 3 million, some people say 5 million, the conversation all out there. You know, the budget had 1.5 million for bicentennial. And we spent that.
1.5.
So the official number is 1.5. Any other number you hear in that propaganda, rubbish here. Yeah. And somebody say, well, is it legitimate to spend 1.5 million for bicentennial? I say it is more than legitimate. Bicentennial, imagine what that is. We're opening our country up to the world. It's a beginning. It's a process. It's not a one-day thing. There are people who've gone back. People are now saying, okay, you got to come to South Carolina. You got to come to Minnesota. You have to explore American businesses. People want to continue that experience. Roland Martin was here. He's so excited. I want to come back. I want to be an ambassador for Liberia. That's a good thing. All right. So the logistical money we spend to move people and to pay for this and that, I don't think we should try. We should rate that over the historical importance of what was achieved here. Elections. Look, I'm the finance minister who always fights with the election commission people on the because here. I always believe that the unit cost for election should be low, and they always think they should be high. But let me give the commission chair, the current chair, credit because I think she has brought election costs down to the lowest in Liberia. Let me give her that credit. Okay. Yeah. When she was not commissioned, I fought with the former commission. She was there. When she became commission, we cut election budget down from I think 24 million under her to 13 million. The election that was just held, the 2020 by-election, we cut that budget down from 24 to 23. So she knows how to cut budget. She has submitted to me a budget of 1.9 million for the budget. And so she know the drill. She know what we'll go through. She already been down that road. I'm suspecting that 1.9 billion is part of a build-up, knowing that the war coming will come down, it will come down to something. So, but at the end of the day, we have to have a unit cost. The ideal in government, for me, as an economist, is not to even think on anything we call by-election, to have a fixed unit cost for a by-election, for a senatorial by-election across country. So we have this data. We should not even be preparing budgets for them again. Meaning, these are things that in the last 10 years we have done. We need to have a cost. Generally, you say the cost of beggar rate is, what do you call the thing? Beggar rate is $13. That's how we know it. We're supposed to know the cost to hold a by-election in a particular district in Liberia. So the only thing we're changing is not, we're changing inflation, meaning $1 today may not be $1 10 years from now. So when we take that unit cost, we multiply it by inflation, but we should not study budget. Since we know all the things, ballot paper, printing, all that thing, we just moving. So the ballot paper today costs $50, it's not going to cost $200 tomorrow. So ballot paper costs $50, maybe it will cost $52, so that inflationary adjustment will just going over there.
But what about the size of the district?
But I want to say we know all our districts because we run, we got a history. So this is a project I'm telling the budget people to do, the unit cost matrix. PPCC on the double jala, there's some work in that. I don't think we're there yet. We need to do so. The whole cost structure should be known across government. So I'm working with the election commission people and say, you can be putting all these numbers. You already know these things. That the last election, they had a last election for 49 million, the 2023. I'm arguing with them. If you hold a last election for 49 million, I can just give you a multiplier of that 49 million and tell you your budget for the next election. For the 9 million, I can give you 55 million, you want the next election 2023. If you submit a 19 million budget, we're going to fight on that because I know the cost of the 2023 election was 49. So why should the 2023 election, which is the 2017 election, why should the 2017 election be 49 million and the 2023 election be 90 million?
Almost double.
So I'm saying, let's do 49, let's stay on 49, and then do some additions here and there. Okay, let's say biometric, okay, we're just for biometric, but we should stay within that. So, and even at 49, if I put my something inside that 49, check it out for.
Are you sure the figure?
Yeah, 49,
2017,
2017 or 49. I'm saying I will put my document, I will carry with 39. So if I look at 2039, go into that budget, clean it up, 2017 will be 35 under me. So we're actually standing at 35 now, adjusting to come to 49 now. So those are the discussions. I'm just bringing it to the public. That's the discussion back and forth we can go on with the National Election Commission. Their 1.9 budget will come down to somewhere that I believe that will be afforded. Looking at maybe $1 million or so, we plan for the by-election. She's a $900,000 moving on to teachers. Something we can,
Daniel Yankuna was also concerned about media in small business empowerment.
Yeah. The inclusion, that was the media inclusion. Look, that's an important one. The media is important. The way our media market works, I think we need to look at it. In other countries, the media markets are well defined, and the journalists seem to be benefiting from that. We don't have a well-structured media market here where you're benefiting. So it's always tailored around, the government, and so we need to find a way to help. I think the government, should provide, I don't know if it's a continuum, but a one-off. I think the headquarters of the press union, some training for media practitioners to go for advanced studies, right? Those kind of things we should do. We don't want to be seen, because you have to say that with the government, any government, not just our government, government is seen in the country that, but the media and the government are the same, but the government just funding everything. So I don't think we can trust the Liberian media because it seems to be heavily funded by the government. That will not be a good thing for our democracy. We need to strike the dichotomy between you and us, the media, independent. Yeah, government can come in here.
Even BBC is funded by the British government.
But listen, BBC is BBC is the world is world news. Yeah, BBC not just British.
So fund the Liberian news.
Yeah. So but
the Elections Commission could put up a very serious argument, Mr. Minister, that the voting population in terms of number is not going to be constant.
Yeah.
So, for example, since 2023, since 2017, we're talking about 6 years. People who were 12 years old will be turning 18 years old in 2022, and they will vote. So that number.
So those variables, I want to say that multiplier factors of things that change. Inflation, population, those things were there. But if we all agree that we look at 2017 budget, we go inside, we clean it all, and we agree on a number that could have been 35, we can take that 35 number, apply the multiplier, blah, blah, and come back to a new budget. That's just all I'm saying. That's the logic I propound to them.
The reason why we're going to elections in Lofa is because the president recently suspended the citizen of former Minister Brian Samakai. He equally mandated you to pay back the military money. Did you budget for that? Where are you going to get that money from?
Well, there's contingency in the budget for small things. The Minister of Finance under the Public Financial Management Law has certain discretion to spend a certain amount that is not budgeted. So
how soon will the men in arm receive the money?
And the follow-up to that is how much money are we talking about?
Yeah, so I think the last time we paid 400,000, 400-something thousand. So I have to, I'm hearing 700, 800. I don't want to throw a number out, but whatever the number is, the president mandated. We have to pay that under the contingency.
Are you going to pay that, gradually?
Yeah, no.
It's going to be a one-off.
We just do one-off. We don't want it. This thing has been lingering. The army. The president cares about the army.
Okay.
Yeah, the president. I don't know if they received. The president has provided. I don't know how many vehicles recently to. I don't think I've been in the country for some time, but I don't believe they've received it. But they're on the verge of receiving it. The president is benefiting the barracks. We're looking at things for the army and the family. All kinds of things we're doing for the army people. We're very concerned about. They've been making some noise in the army about monies that are being cut from them from Mali. The president has directed that no money be cut from anybody from Mali. The government will pay that. So, if we've been cutting the money, we say they will not be cut again.
The soldiers are listening.
Yeah, the soldiers are listening, and I'm saying the present direction. No money will be taken from any soldier from Mali.
Okay.
In Mali, your pay is $300 in Mali, you will get a $300 clear. If you're taking $10, $15, $20, the government will put that $20.
Were there cuts?
Yeah, I think we've heard some noise around.
Who's cutting? Who's cutting?
I think it's something. I don't want to get into all that, but that's the direction now of the president. The president hears small concerns and people, he passes the edicts and he goes and execute. So a lot is happening. So we're concerned about the army people and their welfare, and so we pay that money. We're in the process of processing that with the Ministry of Defense. So restitute the money.
Okay, so talking about the army, TD, before we go further, it is all about security. On the 28th of January, the State Department issued a warning, concerning the security issue of our country. The police, the last time we had RG Pajasulu in studio here at ELBC, and there were issues of budgetary constraint with the issue of the police, people jacking materials. what's in the budget this year for the national police and other security apparatus?
Very important question. I think we've got significant increase in the resources to the whole security sector in this current budget. You know, the allocation was there. I just spoke with, before I came back, I spoke with the director of police that wanted to meet him and his team to see how we were planning for that money. That money is for, I think, recruitment, it's for training, it's for logistics, police vehicles, police paraphernalia. Last year budget we provided money for them to get tow trucks. So the police is going to be busy.
What about their salaries? No 1-2% increment?
We're looking at the police, the army, the security sector, we're looking at all of that. So I can't broad brush speak to all of that details, but I believe that we need to tap, especially the police and the army, we're looking at something like that. So those are the conversations. We want to stay engaged because I think once we resource, the other point is once we resource the security sector, we also want to make sure that we bring down the incidents of crime. So we want to pay attention to the statistics and the correlation. Yeah, as we provide more help for the police and security, we want to see a commensurate change in the results. You know, rape, crime. The other thing, I mean, talking about rape, you know, there's a confusion. I mean, the incidence of rape is going on in the country. The government responsibility is to prosecute people who commit that act. Okay. Sometimes I hear the criticism to say that the government is responsible when the father rapes a 4-year-old. Is the government's responsibility. I don't understand that. I don't understand. So it almost looks like the government is supposed to be in every room, every night, determining when a man goes to be with. No government in the world has that capacity or resources to do that. What the government is supposed to do when somebody is alleged, we bring them and we make sure to face the law. I think that's it. So the criticism should be around the legal process that allow families to conceal perpetrators. You have to face the challenge. Many families are hiding the information. So what are we going to do with that? So maybe we need a law to say if it can be proven that the family was complicit in concealing from the government, that person is equally guilty and will be prosecuted. So
there are provisions on our law for that.
Yeah, I think
did you in any way, how do I put it, did the budget in any way affect civil servant salary? Was there any reduction in salary for civil servants?
No, which budget? This budget?
Yeah.
No. Civil servant salary is not a, salary is not a budget thing. The budget take the number, the annual number that we have. There's no cut.
No cut.
We actually, what we're doing now, let me tell you, something's happening here. We're noticing, the Ministry of, the Deputy Minister of Fiscal Affairs has been leading this investigation. We are noticing, even though there goes on, we're noticing some things being happening in the payroll. And so, all the 75,000 workers, you know, we're scrutinizing. There've been a little bit delay in submission. Some entities have been doing some things. So
you still doing some things?
Yeah, like mobile money number, verifying money is going. So we are cleaning up more. So that means that if we continue to do all the ghost reform work, what will be done? Looking at you did your mind, you called some numbers and you found some things and he brought it to my attention. I said that's the work that we have to continue to do. We have 70,000 people on the payroll. I believe a lot of things still happening over there, even though the GSC is going to audit the payroll. We got to continue this work. There are agents across the government whose job is to continue to fraud the country. We have to continue to be agents trying to get them. That it's a daily, hourly exercise. So the payroll numbers look like they'll continue to come down. Our goal under the program is to stabilize payroll, move all the ghosting, all these things that I'm talking about, and continue to depress the payroll so that we find more money for the teacher who just called. So we put teachers in the classroom, we put health workers, we raise the health workers pay, all that work.
So now we're talking about the payroll. I want us to talk a little bit about job creation challenges in the formal, informal sector. What are the approaches?
The Tweah thing is the informal sector. In the informal sector, we have a lot of work to do there because this is a sector that we usually don't recognize. They don't have documentation, but this is where a lot of our people reside. Every day you see pimping people in the street. Every day you see people hawking the wares. What access to loans do they have? This is where the president has announced that every year $2 million will be in the budget for rural women. So we got $2 million already sitting down in the bank account. We're in the process of giving it to them. Then we have this $2 million to give to them. So in a space of 3 months, 4 months, they're getting $4 million. all the rural women across the country, the save the what do you call it is village saving loans, and all these people in agriculture, they are going to get this relief. It's a permanent thing that the president wants. So if once the president re-elected, 6 years, that's 12 million we're going to put into the informal sector. We're having big conversations about formal businesses and their ability to get loans. This is something, it's a hard thing, but the government can't really take money and give it to businesses like that. We want to find a way where the banks who are sitting on bulk cash can give money to businesses, and businesses also, let me say this, it is true that many businesses are irresponsible, they take bank money, they don't pay back. That is a reality. That's part of the problem that we face. So the issue with the banks is that I'm not going to continue to lend. So we say collateral. We want Liberian businesses to be serious. All right? Yes, they are good serious one, but they are also bad loans. So I, as Minister of Finance, I know this because I know how much public money I have put to stabilize the financial sector. So it's a reality. I'm looking at the data.
Can you put a number to, during the past administration, we used to hear from the Ellen Johnson administration, this year will create, this amount of jobs. Can you put a number to the amount of jobs you've created?
I'm saying all those things are bogus.
The last time you did that, you got in trouble.
They are bogus. No, we didn't. We never said job. We said in the PAP, we said people out of poverty.
Okay.
And even that was, I argue with the consultants who wrote the document. They concede to me today.
No, you talk about job creation in Pillar 2 on economic stability. You also talk about job creation. Now, since you were talking about the rural women issue, something just popped on my mind. You started the construction of a headquarters, I think so, for the Liberian Albino the Albino Society. How far is it now?
Albino Society, I think we're going to finish it. We have some money. The albino, the disabled people, we're protecting them under this budget. We're working. The president attended the forum for the disabled. I think albinos, they're going to all these smaller groups.
You continue the project because I understand it's just at foundation level.
Yeah, we'll continue the project. They can come over and see where we are. So I know some of them. They're sending you some questions.
Minister Tweah.
No, I mean it's just people center, so we gotta talk about it.
They can come over.
Especially incremental in their budget, probably from 71 million to something.
The president building youth center all across the country.
So the president said Liberians will not be spectators in their own economy.
Yeah.
Now, there is this challenge that Liberian businesses continue to encounter. What are you doing as a government? I know you are at finance, and this should be the responsibility of the Ministry of Commerce, but you guys,
we work together. I work very closely with the Ministry of Commerce.
So my take is, the Liberian men will go and buy the carton of biscuit and go to sell it $5 LD in the street, from the down consumer level. The Indian man, the Lebanese, who is the importer, will sit in his store and equally go in.
We should stop that. That is happening.
There is a policy in place, a liberalization policy. What's stopping your government from having it enforced?
We are calling a major business forum in Limba County. We're choosing Limba because Limba has been a Liberian business success. We've been struggling with the time because of the last thing, but we want to convene businesses from Monrovia and businesses in Limba, the government, high level.
Do you need that forum when there is a law already?
Yeah, we need that. So what we're going to do inside there is to understand a little bit more. We know the problem, but we want to convene that convening power to assert that look. I won last time, I think we know what it is now. So we want to drill down and matrix along all the sectors and promise them this is what we are going to do together there. I talked about fronting. That's one of the things we're going to talk about there. Meaning, if you open a business in your name, anybody who's the sole proprietor or the owner of the business, the bank account cannot have different name. What we're observing today is that the names on the articles of incorporation are not the names on the bank accounts. We're going to stop that. So if people are listening to me, we'll stop that fronting. We'll stop this process where wholesalers are into retailing. We'll stop that. We will stop that. We want to go and do the deep dive technical work to understand a little bit more. Then we come and frame the enforcement mechanism. The laws are there. We dust it up. This year is a year of governance. Those are the small things we want to do in the business community. So we got to stop that because we want to protect small businesses, small Liberian.
This is the 5th year counting.
That's correct.
Why you didn't do that in the first 1, 2, 3, 4 years?
we did many things.
So you ignore the president's decision, right?
No,
to avoid a situation where Liberians will not be spectators?
The president just put $2 million in the budget every year, and Liberians are not being spectators.
That's not going to be impactful to them if they don't have the opportunity to control the local market.
That's what we're doing. So along with that policy, there are many things that many things. Let me tell you, I think there's a business now registered on the gold standard that's in London Stock Exchange today. I'm breaking that news. That's part of the president's vision. The guy been calling me, he called me all out there thanking the president. And Mr. President, this could never have happened without the president. America Mara. Right.
So they're called Hamak.
The Hamak. Yeah. They are listed. This is what the president says Liberians will not be spectators in the own economy. That's a flagship. So this man has done things. Has he done all? No, we're not capable of doing all in 4 years. And the president will run on the strength of his record. He will go and tell the Liberian people, I need more time to continue my development work. It's not possible to change the country that has been broken for 100 years in 4 years. But in 4 years, here is what I have done.
Now, Minister, maybe Titi was coming. One institution that will make, interventions as part of efforts to help the government sometimes is the Red Cross. I don't know. Is there any point in time where you would think about giving a little bit of subsidy to the Red Cross?
Yeah, I mean, with this whole disaster thing, I think disaster management organization, the Red Cross, I think we need to, this is something. I think they need to be more integrated. It seems like, our engagement with the civil society, let me confess, I don't think as a government we've done well with engaging the civil society.
Okay.
I think I'm talking to, we've had meetings, Mr. McGill and myself have meetings with the civil society group. We're planning a civil society consultation with the government, where we bring many of these things up. Red Cross people, all of them. Yeah, we need to look at how the government is engaging NGOs, civil society. We have a new NGO policy. So yes, you're right. The Red Cross, we have a lot of disaster. Not only the Red Cross, but we got another group they call the Good Samaritan, all these other people. Samaritan Press, right? Yeah, so we should do more. We should engage with them and see what they're doing.
So lastly, before we go to TT, Minister of Finance, the president is currently in the Executive Mansion. That building was down, for a couple of years. It got burned as a result of fire disaster. We have the Liberian National Fire Service. A few months ago, we had the situation of tanker explosion in Freetown, Sierra Leone. What have you been able to put in the budget for fire service? Secondly, what's your own plan for the wash sector? It is one of the major pillars, in the international space that people use to grade government in terms of sanitation and
very well.
Stuff.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm waiting to see what I'm getting from the fire service about the million we're giving them. So that's part of the thing. People say government doesn't do that. We give people money, we want to see results. So I know last year, when those fires happened in Kakata, we provided money for the fire service. We're still waiting for the trucks, the in procurement. We want to see those results. Yeah, I think we provided $1 million or so, and they are in the process. We want to see very soon, you see a line of the fire trucks coming here. We want to see that. And then if we did that last year, we're going to continue doing that. But I think the pressure is on the fire service to show us what, the value for money we're getting since we made those allocations. So, yeah.
The wash sector.
Yeah. The wash sector, it's also in the budget. It's something that my major indicator in wash is open defecation, and I'm fighting with them that we need to reduce the rate. Like the open defecation means like we just go in the bush to defecate.
Going to the beaches.
The beaches and all of that. We want to bring that ratio down. It's been coming down, but I think it's coming down too slow. And I just don't think it's just it's resource, but it's also programmatic, it's also innovation, it's also things. So entities running these things have to be smart.
To be accompanied by the necessary funding.
Yeah, but you see, funding it's a lazy.
So you got 785 million, and why didn't you put?
Are you giving me the value for the money that you get? That's that way we begin the conversation from.
Okay.
If I give you $50, are you giving me $60 worth? Or if I give you $50, are you giving me $10 worth? So that's where the debate has to happen. The government is encouraged, if we give $50, we get $60. The government always encouraged to give $200. If we give $50, we get $20. It's not a good return. So wash issues are there. The executive mansion you brought up is an historic thing. Symbolically, a whole generation of children, has grown up not knowing the importance of the executive mansion. Growing up. Since 2006, people in the last 15 years didn't know the importance of the executive mansion. We used to crave to drive in front of that executive mansion. When my car took LU Road, I always used to be angry when the bus to LU Road because I would not be able to see the mansion if we pass in front of university. So I always will be praying which direction. Once the man took Johnson Road, I will be happy that I will be able to see the mansion. Many children have not had an opportunity. President George Weah has been able to restore that. And I think he was congratulated by the former president. And that's an honest, I mean, that's great. I mean, she wasn't able to do so, but she congratulated somebody. This is what we call responsible, honest patriotism. Right? What she didn't achieve, she thanked him for achieving it. And in response, the president also named the dialysis center in honor of the former president. I mean, that's a great thing for a president to do, recognizing the accomplishment of a former president. It is in this spirit that we raise our country. This tearing each other down, this cramp syndrome because I'm not in power is not going to take this country anywhere. At any given time, a class, a generation, a political leader will be in political power. It's reserved for one group, one person at a time. If you're not there, it's not a recipe to pay lobbyists to destroy your country. You go and make your case to the Nigerian people. You don't destroy Nigeria. You don't besmirch. You don't besmear the reputation of our country. You don't make up 16 billion stories. You don't invent lies just to besmirch the government's reputation because
the Minister of Finance and Development Planning is our guest.
Yeah, I hope I have my last question in the end.
Version of the Super Morning Show. We're gonna open the lines now. You are out there, you're listening to the minister, you have not, maybe you have some questions. We'll end this interview at 11 o'clock, so we give you another opportunity. We're opening the lines now. Call us, call the minister, ask him the questions you want to ask him. Let's take our very first caller now on the line. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Call from where? Call from where? Okay.
I'll end community.
And right now, we want to be able to look at the budget. If you spend money for the businesses right now, looking at the business generally spending money for the businesses, I feel that and that's not good. You pay, but it's really a
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's take this other caller. Good morning. Good morning. From where? Okay. You are live.
Okay, let me say good morning to the Igbo Center Minister Tweah and Tweah to the one man for the lecture in the studio. Mr. Tweah, this is good for students in the operation, but there is one thing my attention has been to the House of National Law in our country. The ability community is very, very, very in need of putting things for this government. And you know this government already said it for the president expecting that we will not be spending of our own economy. So we really want to use that as something that people on this platform that the president and the minister are ready to increase our budget to help get our work into the economy in that country. Thank you very much.
Thank you also for being a part of the program. Let's talk to this other caller. Morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Gigi. My name is Tony and I speak from Morroville. I was just saying a pleasure one to the guys and the minister has been quite impressive and resounding. At least he laid too many of the issue at rate. But basically, my interest has to do with the agro sector. The minister didn't have the question as it relates to the agro sector. And unfortunately, repeatedly, the executive who drafts the budget and the legislature who are prepared have not done much. Mr. Minister, if you look in the region and across the world, the country has prioritized in the agro sector. And the country goes to 20 to 25%. Look at Ghana of their national budget to relate to the agriculture sector. Unfortunately, unfortunately, the big one was had and that budget rate is only it's come for training. We use over 200 million dollars for rent every year. What are we doing to enhance, something sustainable is very important. And the minister, you have not spoken as well. That's what disappointing with you this morning. The agro sector, that's why education, electricity, how do we intend to move our country forward with this kind of drop in the pocket for agriculture?
He will respond to that. Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, he will respond to that. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, Dennis, the executive director of the Liberia Society, Patricia, on the line.
Minister calling.
Let me thank the minister. Minister Tweah is one of my favorite ministers in this country. And Mayo is working, follow him, and I love his liberation when it comes to our country. He's a very, very easy minister. And I want to thank you, Minister, for coming to give clarity on our country, how it's running. But moreover, I'm calling you that the Ability Society of Liberia, improving on this woman, Madam Patricia Lori. Minister, I have worked with the past government.
Ma'am, please go straight to the point. We don't have much time.
Past government, and I see how they was able to help, some of the ability in our country. Mr. Minister, I want you to really write down today. Look into the ability community and help. We cannot go to the person. There are needs that we need for you, Minister, to help the ability community. All of our progress are down. All of our progress are down. We want you to please look into the ability society, into the ability community, to be of help to this institution. We can be a backup. The guy you see a lot of people go and beg because we don't come out of the sun. We don't get blind. We don't have a long span when it comes to our living condition.
Okay, ma'am.
It will talk of our issues.
We got a message.
Thank you. Let's talk to this other caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Census Budget from Budget Budget.
Yeah, you got 50 seconds.
Yeah, I want the minister to please tell me what is domestic debt. And also,
She tell you what? What should
what
you
is
tell?
domestic debt?
What is domestic debt?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. We'll tell you, yeah?
I want you to verify a very simple image, and also, I want you to be, and the money always for the agency salary. Thank you.
I thought he had spent it big. Let me take this other person. Good morning. Morning.
Let me just thank you to the minister in school. The minister asked me, the role I use from contact to grant to the girl, that role is very bad again. Since that time, we anything again, so I don't want to do address that for me, please.
Okay, you will address that. Good morning.
The money that Liberia paid to the Ivory Coast people, I want to know, and we know that the ELBC was very hard for the country, yes. And also we know that the rainy season lasts for 6 months in Liberia, and also the drought lasts 6 months in Liberia as well. So, and he spoke on 2 months statement that will stabilize the electricity in Liberia. After the system being paid, the next draft is that it will not affect the Liberian people.
Okay, he will respond to you, yeah? Good morning. Morning. we're going to respond to you. Good morning. Good morning. Morning.
This is William Buckley once again. Yeah, my concern has to do with the European Union decided to invest 50 million, in the forest sector. Liberia. Once again, I'm a forester, guided from FDI, then, in Brazil, Liberia. We understand that because a lot of people working in, they receive letter of retirement, they don't want to get involved on change. And so this camera, I don't know, the issue of money being that government diverted money, whether it will not happen this time around. So that other people had an opportunity to serve the nation too.
Thank you. We'll respond to you. I'll take 2 more callers and then we come to the minister to respond to your questions. Good morning.
Yes, see, Michael E. Colombo Sr. I'm from Washington. I'm a member of the National Alliance of Liberia. Yeah, today I have 2 concerns. One, it has to do with a company that subcontracted with LEC for MBH. MBH is in my community currently as I speak. They are doing some work there. That's good for the end of the government. But that MBH company, I think they are stealing the nature. Because if as a law, they are stealing the wire, it's selling it to the same community people, stealing the vision, selling it to the community people. 1, 2, Mr. Minister, I think you sorted out the list of, water and silver, the list of, LEC too much. And like one of the fellows said previously, if it turns out, they will kill you remorseful one way or the other. And Mr. Minister, last year at least talked about the issue about detention. So for me, I'm still economic and people grab back for sharing about the numbers. The single two for this country will know how much for live here, how we can develop on. Thank you, Mr. Minister. You have a good minister. Thank you.
Okay, let's take 1 more caller and then we'll come to Minister Tweah to address your concerns. Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Amara M. Fofana, and I'm phoning from Ghana, Central District number 12. Good morning, Minister Tweah. Thank you for the deliberation. Approximately 3 hours now running. Let me first and foremost begin by saying to His Excellency Dr. George Brandon, we thank you for the dialysis center. Regardless of our political differences and ideologies, that is indeed worth commendation. And we hope and pray that you people that are around will continue to give you the support to do more and more for it. Yes, indeed. We have political differences and not animosity. Thank you. And quickly, Mr. Tweah, regardless of the happens, you can resolve, or the government can resolve the issue with the universal approach teacher or the faculties. And the registration you call for will beg you. That institution, premier institution, that is drag in the graduation process, that is drag in the reopening, and those who still have some opening business or businesses.
Okay.
Please try to resolve that quickly. Let me close. This is the recommendation of Minister Tweah. You know, Ali Sherry, is it Ali Sherry or NTA Flat 29, our brother, and the autopsy report validated the argument that police were responsible. Up to now, the police and the central government is yet to reach to the real family. Even on the humanitarian ground, the weather has just delivered. His daughter is just pretty wishful. Mr. Tweah, for God, here was it. If you even visit that family, the Sherry family, in Ghana, it was fully out of the government. They would not miss anything. So I beg you, please consider this recommendation. Thank you for the opportunity. And together we can make that road greater once again.
Thank you also. Let's come back to you, Mr. Tweah.
Let me begin with Mr. Fofana, who seems to be a patriotic Liberian. Probably, I think he's a critic of the government in the way he's saying it, but he's also at a point where he thinks that when the government does something good, let's commend the government. And if the government does something bad, let's criticize the government. But he's not against the president or against the country per se or the government. I think that's a good spirit to begin with, to end the show with that kind of, nation and that kind of patriotism. I really take heart and thank him for being who he is. I'm very, it's regrettable to hear that, he's saying that the police is not reaching out. I think police director is listening to this conversation, I think they have to move very fast to the family. This is a serious stuff. Something that involves Liberian life should be taken seriously. So I think police will take heed from this conversation. But yeah, I think the concern he raised, UL teachers, look, we're on top of the UL situation. The dramatic changes that are happening in whether it's compensation, it's the renovation process, it's the whole engagement in the university, it's a transformation happening. So we're closely following that. There's a dedicated team involving the Ministry of Finance and the University Authority that are working on all these things. We have monies to renovate in this budget, to renovate the university. We're going to be receiving that. We sent a team to Sierra Leone to look at compensation. When they came back, it is clear that even Liberia is higher than Sierra Leone, but even despite that, we still made some adjustments. So, I mean, the university teachers where they are now, they've never been there in the last 20 years. So we're in a very good place. Yeah. Census, I think, I had that on my agenda. The census is going to happen this year. There was a small challenge with the census budget. I think there was an underestimation in the cost of the census. We are moving to correct that with our development partners. The government is providing an additional $3 million. I think they need an additional $10 million. So we need to find $10 million. In this current budget, we have $3 million for the census. We're working with the partners to bring more resources. But I think the dip is that the census should happen at the actual county. You know, I don't want to get into too much of the details, but it is this year. We're moving the date. There'll be another adjustment of the date by the National Legislature. But that activity is going to happen because it is critical for economic development to establish new baselines and all of that. You talked about MBH. I'm moving down, going to up. Somebody talked about some company involved with LEC, with the same old LEC situation. I think, as I said, LEC is going through a management change. We're recruiting competent experts globally to come in. We also have recruited, we have trained Liberians who are in position to take over LEC. These Liberians have been recruited, they've been validated, they're at a point where they will believe that they've learned a lot from LEC. They know the challenges, they know the problems, they are Liberians. Even though we're hiring, more than likely it's going to be non-Liberians who are probably going to be a CEO, but we have a team of Liberians who, in the next 3, 4, 5 years, are ready to take over LEC, and they should transform the company into what it ultimately has to be. So this is why I know that the future of LEC is bright. The current of LEC is challenged. But like many things, we're challenged, we solve the problem, we move on. I think I'm very happy that the Liberian people today got a clear picture of LEC to know. What I'm continuing to hear is, and from the lady who called, I'll get to her question, but she was, I think it was the first or second caller, she was saying, look, let's not break our bank because we want to avoid power outages in the next 2 months. They think the cost is too high. So what I'm hearing from them is that the government should not make the decision. That's why we come on these kind of shows. The government should not make the decision to try to spend money when we come into the rainy season. Let's use the period. Those monies we want to spend, let's do it in the infrastructure so that when the next year comes, D-Mountain, ArcelorMittal, all the illustrative projects that are going on can be in place so that we then will lower the cost significantly of CLSD. So I got that message from all of us. The EU 50 million project, EU has, the forestry sector, the EU, the European Union has chosen the forestry sector as a major sector. That sector has had some challenges. The current MD has been working to resolve that along with the European Union. They've had a lot of issues there. We're working with our partners in transforming that space. There's some retirement that's supposed to happen to bring fresh blood into the place. There's a lot of issues. There's some changes that have to happen. The board is working on making sure that certain people are no longer in the entity. The European Union is demanding that. We're working with all sides to ensure that this sector is viable. We should be generating cash from forestry, and we should be doing sustainable forest management. The idea is that we don't want to necessarily cut all of our trees down. The president spoke at the climate change forum there in Glasgow, and he talked about Africans being able to trade in the carbon space, and Liberia using its ecosystem, using its forestry as a sink for the globe, where the rich countries are polluting, we should be benefiting. That's what we want to use our forest for. So that's the model that we're working towards. But I think the caller had a particular question. I wasn't too sure about, retiring people, but I do know some people are being retired, because obviously if people are not retired, how will new people enter the space? The printing of new money, yes. I think the $5 bills, the $10 bills are under procurement. So it's a $100 batch that came in. The central bank is procuring for these other quantities of money. So the caller is right. When we don't have, until we have the full package, there will still be small uncertainty. It takes time. Once the whole currency reform process is complete, we'll be okay in the monetary policy space. But until then, there will be small disruptions here. But we're proceeding very fast with that. Yeah, it's the same old money paid to Ivory Coast is too high. Yeah, okay. The Ganta Granjida Road, technically it's getting bad. Yeah, during the rainy season, all these roads deteriorate. Let me announce to you that under this budget, we are moving the country to where public works used to be. Before the war, public works had regional maintenance centers, meaning public works was involved with road maintenance. They had 5 road maintenance centers all around, or 5 bridges in the country. So they were actually maintaining the roads. Since the war, we moved from that model, we came to a private sector model that has been a little challenging. Sometimes to mobilize the private sector, the cost of the maintenance can be high. Okay, so right now what we have, we are moving public works to have machines. The government is procuring machines, working with local businesses, so that we are able to have public works to open all the roads through the country and maintain it. Last night I was just in a meeting with the Minister of Public Works and Minister of State, and it's clear, and I see her plan that the whole coastal highway, the River-Cess Road, and that got that one. We got some machines that came out of the book quite recent, I think about 12. You're going to see public work, the other machines all over the place. We're bringing more. I think the total number of machines is around 40. So the idea is that the president has directed that everywhere a Liberian lives, a road has to go there. Not a paved road. He has said, okay, we're not paving all the road in the country yet. But if a village is 2 hours down where people are walking, we'll open it. Just open it, let people carry the woman to a house 2 hours so it doesn't walk. It will be under George Weah that every farm, every village will have an open road. That too will happen under this president. And so this is why. So I hear you. The Ganta roads getting bad, the public works people are moving on there. Remember, we're paving that. You just have one season to endure that, and then very soon all these things will fall in place. What is domestic? Before that, there was an issue on fixed salary. Okay, it's the same. This concern. We're not cutting salary. I will explain it again. Not too long now, but we're not cutting salary. It's just the fluctuation in the exchange rate that leads to that. One way to do that is to say, okay, let's pay everybody in Liberian dollars. So that's what I'm saying. We try that with the teachers. Yeah, let's pay the teachers in Liberian dollars. So we don't deal. The only thing we'll deal with now is the day the Liberian dollar, depreciates such an extent that the value loses. We can give them higher money to complement. But there will be no. If somebody makes 200,000 Liberian dollar, 200,000 Liberian dollar will see in the account. If somebody made 150,000, 70 cents, what they will see on the paycheck when you do that. Other than that, there will be small minor adjustments because of the exchange rate fluctuation. But overall, I mean, when the exchange rate has been stable in the last 1 year, remember that, right? It was very stable for a whole 18-month period with no fluctuation. So that tells you it's not cut. It's just the small vibrations that are happening in the exchange rate. Domestic debt. Domestic debt is all the money that the government owes to people who provide services and goods to the government during a budget year or during a previous budget year. So the debt comes about when the government have somebody provide a good or a service and the government is not able to pay that person in the current budget year. Under President Weah, in the last 2 years, we have ended the process of domestic debt creation. Meaning, we have gone to a system where when you provide service to the government pays you through a financial budget process. So we don't create debt. Yeah, that's part of the IMF target. We don't create that. So we end the budget year. Everybody who provides service to the government will pay them. Yeah, in that budget year. Small lag here and there will pay you. What we are dealing with is that before we went to this policy, there were debts created in the first 2 years of our administration, in 2 years, and the Ellen Johnson administration, all in double time, doing all that debt that on the book That's what we call domestic debt. Then we have another category called external debt. That one is when the World Bank gives Liberia money, a loan. That's the external debt. When the IMF loan, that's external debt. The African Development Bank loan, that's the external debt. But the domestic debt is when the government uses goods and services that are provided by businesses and the government has not paid them. The albinos are talking. The albinos they are talking. And my good friend Patricia, you know, I hear you out. I think we have to be more intentional. The president has said that like Monrovia is not Liberia. The president has worked with the disabled community. He was at the disabled forum, marginalized group that is concerned. So all of you have a fairer chance under this president. Yeah. We will take a deliberate look at this budget. I believe we have some allocations for you. You need to get that money. We need to complete specific projects that maybe we can find a way when we finish that the president can dedicate them. So maybe all these marginalized groups I believe since we had a disabled conference, we need to take a new look. There's a team that's working with the disabled community on a roadmap on what we do with the disabled community. You know, so we're having all of these things. I think you are front and burner. We hear you out. We took the opportunity to call, take particular cognizance of you, and so we will work with you in all these directions. So these are. Thank you.
Okay, Minister, let me just, this concern is coming from the top, so let me just read this text and we can address it because the students there are on strike. It says, good morning, can you ask Mr. Tweah whether the salary harmonization carried out TU was initiated by the Ministry of Finance and Civil Service Agency or the administration of the university itself, which has caused misunderstanding resulting to strike action at the moment?
Listen, I don't want to get into something where people will be, we're calling for calm on the campus. I don't think this is the right place to say whether the president is wrong or not. That's not a responsibility for the administration. We're working with the University of Liberia. We're working with all of these people to move teachers. We always want, since harmonization, we always want to move people into new bands as revenue situation improves. So we're calling for calm on the campus. The president visited that place. He spoke with the students. He spoke. We went there and we met them. And this is, I come from that country. I think we don't need any strike action. I know they've seen what we've done with the University of Liberia. We're not, we're not oblivious of the challenges there. They are a priority to the government given the distance. And so we're just calling for calm on the campus, and the board, under the leadership of the Ministry of Education, is looking into the issues. And where financial issues are involved, obviously the Ministry of Finance will step in. Will continue, but I don't think we need to accentuate the attention of the campus.
So we're calling it that, gentlemen?
It's okay.
Okay. Yeah. So the questions are exhausted now.
Yeah.
It's already.
Except that there's a disparity with the commissioner's salary. The case with the Human Rights Commission.
There's a disparity with.
They make far less than the rest of the other commissions. Are you aware about that?
Well, they should. I mean, commissioners generally should stay within the same band. I'm not aware. The rule on harmonization was that one driver should not make significantly more, right, than another driver who has the same qualification. That rule should apply to people within the same. So there are reasons why one commissioner who has an expertise as a commissioner may have a 10-year experience and maybe will be in a higher band. Another commissioner may just have a 1-year experience. So there's not a blanket rule to say if you commission, you're right. So I can't speak to Dell and Thompson. We'll look at that particular, see if there's anywhere there is a large disparity since harmonization, we move in and correct it. Harmonization is not an event. Largely we stabilize, but we're still doing small patches here and there to stabilize further. Going to the University of Liberia, there was a big disparity there. We went in there and we fixed that. So we're putting small fires out all over the place. So the work continues, the country moves on.
Thank you.